that's one thing great about the NBA. They can look at a DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, and see themselves. So they can look at a Steph Curry and see themselves and see that, hey, if I work hard, I will have an opportunity. They can look at Dwane Casey, they can look at Alvin Gentry and say, if I do the right things, I can accomplish that.
For you, why is it important to celebrate Black History Month?
Well, first of all, Donnovan, I grew up in the South in the early 60s when their segregation was still the way of life. My first 3 years of school, I went to a segregated all-black school. I couldn't go to the integrated schools. I remember first going to school the first day when the integrated schools, when the federal government and the state government came in and made us integrate schools. I mean, I fought like the first week of school, guys calling you names, and their parents was out picketing outside, standing in the doorway where they didn't want us in. And the funny thing about it, today, those same guys that I fought with that first couple of weeks are now my friends. We grew up to be best friends. I would spend the night at their house when I was in high school. So going through that, makes me appreciate and understand how far our society in North America has come.
Is it hard for your kids to even imagine that day you drop them off to school now? It looks like the United Nations.
They have no clue, and even my wife doesn't have a clue, because in Seattle is a lot like Toronto, a melting pot. Schools have been integrated for a long time. She understands because of the stories and the feeling that I give her. But my kids will never understand, and nor should they. And I pray to God that they don't have to ever go through and see the things that I saw, the signs on the bathroom doors, saying whites only, the water fountains, whites only, coloreds, the different things like that. I hope they never ever have to go through and see and experience the way I did.
Here at this franchise, all but 2 of the coaches have been African American over the 20 some odd years of the franchise's existence. Is there something unique to this place that allows that to be the case?
I think it's the city. I think it's the culture. I think it's the melting pot mentality of the city of Toronto, of the country of Canada. Canada's always had the stereotype of being a melting pot of, okay, if I want to have all my rights and freedoms, let's go to Canada. And but again, I think that the fan base here will accept you no matter what color. I don't think the ownership here goes say, okay, got to go out and hire a black coach or go out and hire a black GM. They go out and hire the most qualified person. And I think that's something that's beautiful about this franchise, the city, the ownership group that recognizes whether I'm here or whoever here, the most qualified person.
Back in those days when you were fighting at school, if I were to tell you you're going to grow up, you're going to be a head coach in the NBA, that's one of the longest tenured, most successful, you're going to work for the first African-born GM, one of your mentors is going to be the first African-American GM, and the President of the United States is going to be African-American, you would have said what?
I would have said you're smoking something, or you're some kind of drug, or you give me something what you're drinking. Because I would have never envisioned that back at that time, Donnovan, and that's one of the most beautiful things about our times, our society now, is if you can do the job and if you're qualified, you will get the opportunity. That's all you're looking for, is the opportunity. That's what Dr. King fought for all those years, is just the opportunity. Now, you live and get fired on your merits, which is the way it should be. And but I would have never said that I would see the day of all those factors and all those variables together at the same time. From where I've come from to where I'm now, I've been knocked down, knocked out, fired, got up back up again, and kept working at it. And to have an opportunity to be a head coach in the NBA. It wasn't easy, but again, hopefully I'm an example to young men and women of color wherever that you can be, or you can get an opportunity to be that, if you do the right things, if you work hard, if you're qualified in sport or in life.